Welcome to the club presentation to explain the track and trace form and the club app and its functionality. COVID protocols and what they mean for club administrators and club visitors. Under the summer procedures set out by the PA for 2021 and the current guidance set out by government, clubs are required to have in place a registration system whereby they can record all personnel attending their club. They must securely store this registration for 21 days in case they are contacted by the NHS track and trace team. They must post the NHS QR code at their venue entrances to allow attendees to scan the QR code via the NHS track and trace app. And clubs must also monitor the entering of their facility for signs and symptoms of COVID-19. Visitors to their club must register their identity and supply contact information. They must provide a self-declaration in regards to COVID-19 and if they have or showing any symptoms of COVID-19. They must provide proof of attendance to the checkpoint entry COVID marshal, and they must check in using the NHS track and trace code. United Polo has automated the entry process to expedite the procedures for clubs to allow attendees into their facility. This is an example of entering a facility where the attendees are showing no signs or symptoms and have no COVID test positive results. When you enter the club, there are several ways that the attendee can register with the track and trace form. Preferably, they will have the app already downloaded so that the time taken for this to complete is lessened. But if they do not have the app on their phone already, they can scan the QR code. They can visit the United Polo main app and search the club and download the club's app whereby their track and trace form is housed. In the club app, there is an icon with the COVID-19 protocols, and this will bring up a self-declaration form. On the self-declaration form, it asks for the name of the attendee, the email address, and their phone number, and then there is a set list of questions to fill out. And if the questions that they fill out meet the current conditions for COVID-19 for the club, they will be permitted entry. On completion of the form, an email will be sent to the attendee with a pass certificate attached for the verification that they've completed this process. This allows the checkpoint monitor or the COVID-19 marshal to ask to see the COVID pass to confirm that they have completed the self-declaration form. The data stored via the form is securely stored in a cloud-based server with SSL encryption. And due to the nature of the information being stored concerning health data, this is special category data and therefore can only be processed to facilitate official NHS track and trace requests to the COVID-19 officer. In this example, it's where the attendee is arriving and has self-declared that they have one of the 4 conditions contrary to the entry procedures for clubs in 2021. In this scenario, they're not permitted entry. A notification is sent to the attendee saying, please do not attend the club. In this example, the COVID-19 officer is also sent a notification to alert them that attendee is trying to enter the club with signs or symptoms of COVID-19. Again, this can be asked to be clarified during the day at any point by the COVID marshal to see the certificate for COVID pass or COVID negative entry. Similarly, the data is stored securely via SSL encryption and housed on a cloud-based server. Here we are showing you the track and trace form and where it sits within your club app under the COVID protocols. It's a very simple form. It asks for your first and last name, your email address and your phone number. Have you received a positive COVID test for C19 in the last 14 days? Yes or no checkbox. And have you experienced any of the following symptoms? Should the attendee arriving not have an email or a phone on them, This form can be completed by the COVID Marshal and submitted on their behalf, but the email address that would be allocated would be the COVID Marshal's email address, and therefore any notifications would go to them. GDPR requirements also mean that we cannot ask anyone under the age of 16 to complete the form because we cannot hold their data on record. Exemptions to this form also are quick drop drivers, so delivery drivers, and also it is advised that they have the app downloaded already and can fill out the form prior to arrival at your club. This form is valid for 24 hours, so it can be done once a day. It doesn't have to be at the checkpoint, but it must have been completed by the time they have arrived at the club so that the COVID Marshal on the gate can check the form. This is an example of the pass certificate that is issued, and it can be branded in your club's colours. And here it says the name of the attendee that has completed the form, that they completed it, and the time they completed it. This is the pass certificate that is going to be asked to verify completion of the entry procedures by the checkpoint marshal or the COVID-19 marshal at your polo club. Here we have the two notification emails. On the left-hand side, you can see the email states that you are cleared to come to the club, and this will also have the attachment of the pass certificate. On the right-hand side, it is the do not attend notification, saying that as a result, please do not come to the club until you're completely clear of the virus. The COVID data that is collected in the registration form is classed as special category data, as there are health-related information stored on this form. Due to this fact, the COVID data can therefore not be further processed or used in any other format other than conforming to the conditions set out by the track and trace form. And the specific purpose of this form is to facilitate the NHS track and trace team should there be an outbreak in the local area and they've contacted you requesting information for those attendees at your club. The data is encrypted through the SSL and is stored on a secure Zoho cloud platform. And in this scenario, United Polo and the club administrators will be designated as data controllers. This status means that they have the capacity to control what happens to this data and who can process it further. Again, the idea of this form is that it is used specifically for track and trace only, and therefore the procedures set out will be as follows. The NHS track and trace team contact your club. The COVID-19 officer will inform United Polo that they have been requested to supply information. This information will be downloaded from the cloud and passed straight to the NHS track and trace team. The records will be maintained for 21 days, and then subsequently to that, on a monthly basis, they will be cleansed as the data is no longer required to be stored. The track and trace form is contained within your club app, and here we show the CMS system, which is the back end of how the clubs can operate all of the functionality within their cloud app. You have multiple features allowing you to design your app in any format you want. We have pre-populated your app with your color scheme and your club logo, your information to website, your directional location, and your contact information. Also pre-populated your track and trace form so that it is easily accessible on startup. This platform is simple and intuitive system to use. It is a template format, and United Polo will also provide training to allow you further functionality specific to your polo club. Here we're showing the Add Features section. The features held within this section are known as widgets. These widgets are function buttons that allow you to customize to your requirements any of the functions that are pre-built into your app. So there are widgets such as custom forms, so you can create any form that you would like. This can be used for gathering information regarding events, for chucker bookings or tournament entry. There is event calendars. There are fan walls. Fan walls are chat rooms So those users of your app can actually communicate with you. This can be set to geographical locations. So one example could be that if you're looking for a spare holder for a game, you can set the notification to a 20-kilometer radius, send out a message to say, hey, any spare holders available for the 3 o'clock game? And those using your app can respond and see this message. It has functionality such as food ordering, so if you wanted a click and collect service, or just an ordering service for your bar menu or drinks. There is probably 30 to 40 functionality widgets built into this feature, and the success of your app is based on that individual that will be setting this up and how they can customize it to benefit the end user. Again, United Polo will set up training sessions to help you navigate through this feature. We understand the common uses of the app as far as polo clubs are concerned, and we'll be working with you to ensure that this is all set up correctly. Here we have an example of a club app and some of the functionality that they've already currently built in. They have their calendar, they have their club shop merchandise icon button. So a merchandise icon button can be set to any type of sales that you're looking to generate. So it could be sticks or ball tickets or entry passes, and the user of the app can actually go to the merchandise button, click on it, and purchase through the app. They have location settings built into them, and like you said, we've pre-populated your locations into your app. And the main United Polo app has a Find My Club location button, so it will direct you from one club to the other. All your social media feeds will be built in already, and it has the ability to link to any YouTube streaming channels. Here we're just going to go through quickly the app ownership and the model of how it's produced for all clubs. Clubs will be the licensee, United Polo is the licensor, and they will license the club app to each individual club. The license is available until the 31st of October, free of charge, and then ongoing from this will be a further agreement with the clubs to discuss how they would like to engage with United Polo. The intention and the hope is that this will be a free service ongoing, and we would like to use the exposure that is generated from the club apps to actually monetize advertising and sponsorship generation. And as explained in the FAQs, subsequent enlistment or affiliation to United Polo will see that club as a stakeholder and will benefit from the revenues generated by United Polo. This is the start of what we hope to create a platform whereby further free resource tools are developed for clubs. Currently underway, there is a tournament scheduling system to enable entrants to book their tournaments, and from that point on, it will self-populate and will dynamically report the results and the next day's game scheduling to reduce the time on the Polo Manager. There is an e-commerce platform under construction to allow those clubs to have a wider base to promote their merchandise, and also those private brands within the polo sector to have a centralized point of engagement. We have a web and app team that is on hand to help with your app, and therefore any questions and follow-up inquiries can be directed to them, and they're there to support you in making sure that the app is a smooth and enjoyable platform to use. The club app activation and the next steps and how you go about getting hold of one of these free apps. Um, if you have any further questions, please email us at info@unitedpolo.co.uk. We're on hand to, again, answer the questions that we haven't already answered through the presentation or through the FAQs. But if you're happy and you would like to proceed and your club app to be made available to you, we will be sending you a club app order form, and that will have the terms and conditions stated on there. We will set up the app and provide you with a draft of the app to make sure that you're happy with the initial setup. Any changes, again, for logos and colors and contact information can be changed at this point. We will be doing online drop-in sessions to help with the training and the management content of the system, just to help you familiarize with those widgets that are available and how they can be adapted to your club scenario. And then the full app will be listed under the United Polo menu in the app, which is available from the Android and Apple stores. And through this, they can then download your club app. Alternatively, we will send you the QR codes direct for download for your app, so this can be sent out to those that are likely to attend your club. Just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to watch the presentation, and if you have any more questions about how United Polo or the club app works, please email us at info@unitedpolo.co.uk.